morning, everybody. George here at Myshire. You might wonder why I'm standing in this giant hole with water up to my ankles. Well, we've revamped the aviary and we're going to use it. So we have real winters here in Ohio for about a month. Not as bad as Michigan, Wisconsin, up north and stuff, where they have 3-4 months of winter, but we still have winter, and winter makes taking care of animals a pain in the butt. Water. It freezes. If you don't have some place to get it, you gotta go get it. So that's what we're doing here. I'm running a new water line to the aviary. We're gonna tie off the line that's 50 foot that way that I have uncovered this morning. Luckily we have equipment to dig it up, wasn't too bad. So, but since my ground freezes, I can't just put the line 6 inches deep like somewhere in Florida might be able to do, or Texas, because they don't have to worry about it. I got to be at least 32 inches down so my water lines doesn't freeze. And the further north you get, the lower that gets. So I'm about 40 inches here. I've still got to dig under the aviary. We're going to put the hydrant inside the aviary. That way we can run auto water to the rabbits, to the chickens, to the pigeons, whatever else might end up in here. So for 8-9 months a year, it's going to be auto. It's going to be real easy. We're going to have fresh water all the time. Now, winter, I am putting in a frost-proof draining hydrant, so I will be able to use it in the winter out here. It will provide water. When I turn it off, it will drain and empty out so it doesn't freeze, and I can use it every day. That way, when I gotta water chickens, rabbits, pigeons, and whatever else might be in here in the winter, the hydrant's right here. I'm not walking 100 yards to the barn, carrying 5-gallon buckets through the ice and the snow, sloshing it everywhere, tramping the snow down. Just gonna make everything a whole lot easier. So I got some more digging to do. We'll get back in touch with you when I start hooking up water lines so you can see kind of how that process goes, and we'll get some water to these animals today. All right. Hey everybody, George, so I'm back. So I'm ready to start prepping my hydrant for installation. So I've picked up brass fitting. They offer plastic ones. I feel much better about the brass underground in case it gets twisted or torqued, less chance of it breaking. So the threaded end goes into your hydrant. The nipple end is gonna go into this 1-inch line. So we've got agricultural line here. It's rated for 100 PSI. They do offer one that's rated for 160 PSI, but our jet pump's only pushing 25 pounds in the garage. I don't need 160 pounds of resistance. So on the bottom of this, we've got threads in the bottom where this is gonna go, and then we've got this. This is probably the most important part of this whole thing, other than how deep you put it. What this does is when you turn it off, this is where all the water drains, and that's gonna be very important on how we install this, and you'll see that when it comes time for me to put this in the ground. For now, I'm just gonna put this in, I'm gonna tighten it down, and I'll be back with you soon. Hey everybody, it's George again. So yesterday, shouldn't have been yesterday, should have been earlier today, but it was yesterday, we dug the hole out and we talked about the hydrant and putting the fitting on. So we had some issues, some stuff didn't fit, had to make another trip. So I'm on day 3 of a 1-day project, which what I'm going to talk about later will be very important on, well, now we're on day 3. So we had 1-inch line, didn't work, wrong stuff, had to get 3/4 inch. Got some stuff going on both ends that made it to where buying 3/4 inch line was easier than putting 6 fittings in to put the 1-inch pipe in. So I've got my hydrant in. We're below frost level. Now I showed you the drain and said that besides frost level, that drain was the most important part of this whole process. So if I just fill this in with dirt, the dirt's gonna pack that drain, the water's not gonna go anywhere. Guess what, come December, I've got no water and probably a busted hydrant. So I've got some gravel here. This is very important. So I've just got a bag of big gravel, and I'm gonna just dump this all around the bottom of this. And then I'm gonna put a couple bags of pea gravel down too. Just extra. So what this gravel is gonna do is when I shut this hydrant off and it wants to drain, it's just gonna drain into that gravel. The gravel's below frost level, so that gravel will not be frozen. It will let that water drain out. So the last step that I have is to hook this into the main line. We're not gonna show that, but I am gonna talk about that a little bit. I started this process 3 days ago. I dug and dug and dug, and we knew right about where it was at. Wasn't quite sure, but close. Found it. Excited. And typically, you know, you find your most important part, which is your incoming water. You're ready to shut the water off and cut that line and go. Well, I'm on day 3. So if I would have cut that line on day 1 and not had all this stuff hooked up by the end of the day, I'd have animals that I'm trucking water from the house, which is 300 yards away, down to the barn. It's a big mess. So if you're digging up water lines, as exciting as it may be to find that line and be ready to cut it and do it, do that last, dead last. Get everything else ready. That way when you cut it, you just hook it in and you're ready to go. You're not risking having to haul water or not having water at all, depending on what your water situation is for your animals. So with that, I'm gonna end the video. I'm gonna spend the next hour or so running this line and hooking it up, and then watch it for leaks. In a couple days, I'll fill it back in. So if you have to install any hydrants in your yard, hopefully I was able to give some advice that'll help you out, whether it be frost level or gravel or not cutting your water supply on day 1. So with that, take it easy. I'll see you next time.